obligations fall due.
It has overseen expenditure of pretty close to about $6 billion since they've been in office. And there's a vexing issue, Madam President, as it relates to the relationship and contributions from the independent, I know, and the government side, that whenever request is made for borrowing, that the government has always been asked to provide the Parliament with the overall picture so that we in here can assess. Madam President, over the years, over the months, the government has actually come before us and seek borrowing. And when I listen to the contribution, Madam President, from the member side in terms of how dependent the government was on the monthly contributions from the tourism sector, and where we found ourselves in COVID, it emphasizes that point made earlier on in terms of had we been provided with a clear picture when borrowings were being done in time past, just maybe we would have been in a better position today, or you would have received better guidance back then. The journey, Madam President, in that story into a far country represents the amount of borrowing, the depth of debt that we have. And of course, Madam President, I ask myself the question, what is it that we have done over the years with the borrowing? Why are we where we are today? Madam President, the young man expenditure in reckless living represented waste or wastage in some of our fiscal maneuvering, what we did with monies. Madam President, I am particularly concerned with how we have approached some of the decisions we have embarked on, even during COVID. Madam President, I was surprised that we didn't even have monies to feed persons adequately. In fact, I'm aware that 15,000 persons were fed during COVID, when we have 25% of our population below the poverty line pre-COVID. Madam President, the hunger of the young man represents our inability to provide basic needs. During that time, Madam President, we could not even provide it for the PPP, the protective personal equipment for frontline workers. Madam President, when I reflect as somebody in the Senate, as a senator, discussing over the years the issue of borrowing, $6 billion have been spent, and we could not get $2 million to feed persons in times of crisis. I'm saying that the fiscal management of this economy was flawed. We were misrepresenting facts to the people of St. Lucia. And every time growth was mentioned, I didn't think that we were being correct. But Madam President, more alarming than this is the fact that we've gone to the IMF, and consistent with pronouncement made, there was a publication as to what the resources should be used for. But what the government has proposed to do. Madam President, I saw in the estimates of expenditure one vexing issue as it relates to the IMF resources. A loan to invest on the closure of the dump site, the garbage dump site in Viewfort. Madam President, when you think of it, and if you happen to be in Deglo, Madam President, if you live in Deglo, a part of Twapito, Madam President, you'll understand how vexing this could be. And I use this opportunity, Madam President, because a few sittings ago, Madam President, I came into this Parliament and I said, we were talking about the Central Hospital, and I said that I met a friend of mine from Deglo, a classmate of mine, who said that she's now been diagnosed with cancer, but she cannot fight it. It's in the Hansard. Madam President, I went to Deglo. I saw her suffering. My friend has passed. But more importantly, Madam President, what struck me while I was watching her there on her last days, the flies in the area. So she said to me, She calls me by my middle name, Andres. She said they have not covered the garbage yet. So once the garbage has been deposited on the dump site and it has not been covered, the entire area have flies. And I saw somebody trying to have peace before she said goodbye to her family, not even able to be at peace. So when I hear that we're taking loans, IMF loans, to close the dump site, to increase the supply of garbage in Deglo, it's going to affect Tuapito. The people in Kachime are dealing with the infestation of those flies. Certain parts of Betso. And I ask why? Because of the health of horses in Vieux-Fort. And then, Madam President, I would put this famous saying, Kigain Kiasa. You understand? What gain is there to invest millions of dollars to close a dump site in Vieux-Fort under a COVID environment when we say we do not have monies? We do not have revenue. And Madam President, I listened carefully to the leader of government business, highlighting the need to speedily open up the borders because we need to try to get some revenue. But Madam President, tourism has gotten a serious blow in this COVID. And I think the government must wake up and really smell what it's about. Madam President, I think that we need to revisit our strategy immediately as a country as it relates to how do we respond post-COVID. Madam President, I do not think that focusing on tourism at this time, I do not think we have this fiscal space to invest in large infrastructure, Madam President. Madam President, I do not think some of this, the $40 million bridge is necessary at this time. Madam President, I am on the ground around St. Lucia and I can see persons suffering. Young mothers are unable to get newborn milk for the children. There's a lot of suffering. I think it is more important that we respond to this. We should give priority to our people. Madam President, the issue of large construction project to stimulate an economy, Madam President, that is not possible in the context of our people, the skill set we have. Madam President, every time I hear the pronouncement made by the policymakers about construction, Madam President, what are we doing for construction will not stimulate the economy. It will not. Because, Madam President, because of the supply chain of what we're doing. Madam President, a lot of these things for example, I heard that we will be driving piles for the airport. Madam President, you have one massive excavator with a boom and about one surveyor and two guys putting those metal piles in place and the crane drops that. This is about 4 persons working. Yes, it's a multi-million-dollar activity to drive piles, but it does not engage a lot of workers. Plus, Madam President, it affects your balance of payment because all of the inputs, you need to get it overseas. The airport is not a wise project post-COVID. I would sit down in any cabinet room and I would say it's not a priority at this time. It's not a priority at this time. One, Madam President, because the leader of government business says she doesn't know what is coming. We do not know how many more waves. But we are also broke. Madam President, if you ask, I heard of the project with regards to the prison, and I'm not too sure because there's been no information given to St. Lucians as it relates to what is the price of this project. Who is funding it? Because I've heard it's going to be a design, build, and finance project. Who is doing this? I've heard this is NIPRO. I've heard a version of approach. Yet I saw drawings. If it is a design and build contract, Why are drawings being reflected? And who has paid for those drawings? I understood somebody is trying to sue the government. I do not know. But what is happening with regards to this project? What type of construction would it be if it's going to stimulate the economy? Is it a steel frame? Steel frames are fast. A few persons would put that up and they disappear. Madam President, the borrowing has gone over and over and over, and it is clear, Madam President, that we are in serious problems. What we should do at this time, Madam President, is really invest in the people of St. Lucia. My humble opinion. Madam President, we need to revisit our approach. We have isolated St. Lucians, and I think we need to go back to them. They will take this economy forward. Not what is being done, not the hoteliers. And Madam President, I ask myself, if I was a banker post-COVID, and somebody who's working in the hotel industry come to me and seek for a loan at this time, would you give them a 40-year mortgage, knowing that they have waves? Would you? What would become of the hotel industry? Would it provide that kind of support? Would it be the industry that it used to be before COVID? How will the bank relate to it? So when we are borrowing at this time, Madam President, what you do with the money is important. And I think the direction the government is taking, it is not consistent with what is being said by the leader of government business, because the leader of government business has really painted a picture of uncertainty, which is correct. You know, the issue of unemployment will continue, but should we still look towards the tourism sector to employ persons when you're expecting waves? How often will they have to go back home and you shut down again? What about our food security? What's about community development? We saw the chaos with regards to the absence of community-based organization during the distribution of foods. What about those areas where we invest in ourselves and prepare ourselves for disasters? What about if we have a Category 5 hurricane? What about this? Madam President, all is not lost if we decide to turn around and invest in the right areas. I know we have a difficult time on our hands. I know. Oh yes, I can tell you. We need to embark on major disaster risk reduction plans for a number of areas of risk. We need to look at our slope stabilization. We need to, yes, you need plans for those things. You need to have them. You need to also look at your Thank you. Thank you. I don't know why somebody may have. Yes. Madam President, we need to look at the issue of lands. A lot of lands right now, we need to find out what is the balance, what is the land bank we have in terms of crown lands, and find the best use for it at this time. We cannot, some of the things happening, Madam President, in some areas that have deemed that was formerly agricultural, they have sold it to other persons outside. They're using it for industrial purposes. But Madam President, we need to focus on our food security, and I think agriculture is one of the main areas we need to invest. We need to look at our land use plans again, Madam President. We need to see what amount of dollars and get the young people directly involved in agriculture. We need to push the country in a way that we are responding to a post-COVID world. What we are doing now in building $40 million bridges, when you are broke, borrowing money to build the police headquarters at this time, I would ask to take a pause on it, Madam President. And maybe there is something that this government is aware of that nobody else is aware. But if this government is saying that there's such uncertainty as it relates to the future of COVID, we do not know when the waves will come back, but you're still depending on hotels to open to bring revenue, That, to me, is not proper. It is risky. And I think that we like the same way the waves will come is the same way we'll find ourselves waving back and forth in this situation that we are in. We need to move away from this. And I think it would be best. I pleaded early on, and I notice it makes no sense to plead, except just make the point. I would advise my contribution in any cabinet that we revisit the priorities at this time. And large infrastructure projects at this point in time that seem to create large value, but it does not go through, it doesn't percolate through the ordinary people, is not advisable. It is a few persons who are going to make millions out of this, and St. Lucians will have to pay the debt in the future. Madam President, as I reflect on the amount of debt we have incurred, I have said to my own daughter, I think you will need probably about 4 jobs by the time I retire from work because of the amount of taxes you would have to pay. Madam President, based on our demographics, we have a population with less persons working in the future. How are we preparing them for some of what is happening now? We're looking at it as if it is next year or 5 years plans we are on. Madam President, there's a real world, and our people will confront real issues tomorrow. And I think we need to turn away from what we're doing. COVID has exposed us. We are broke like a rat. We have no money. No money. Nous pas ni l'argent. Nous pas ça même souhait 15 000 moun. Nous ka prêter là à présent pour fermer que nous ka jeter zodier vieux fort pour la petite cheval qui est là. Qui moun qui ni gagne ça? You understand? Madam President, there are other areas on this that I would leave for my colleague to speak to. But I'm saying that we should have been informed a lot earlier over the times when this government has come to this house to borrow on the independent as well as persons that said had asked them to provide more information. What is the state of the economy? What monies do you have? You understand? You've not been forthcoming, but today you're telling me that you have no money, the tourism dollar is not coming in, the treasury is broke. You understand? You cannot pay salaries. You want to offer bonds, you know, according to somebody, you know, the bonds, the people can't take bonds to do some of the things. And some of the statements, Madam President, maybe if I take my seat on this. Madam President, I listened to members or the Prime Minister speak to the issue of St. Lucians, and I heard the leader of government business talking about what do you have to do between 9 o'clock? You know, what is it you have to do for 9 o'clock? You know, I heard what am I hearing? And then I heard the Prime Minister, what do you have to do if half of your money, I close the shop, you have nothing to spend your money on? Consistent with what the Prime Minister said. What are you doing with 9 o'clock? Go and sleep. That's what the night was made for. What you're doing with half of your money, you do not need it because I close the stores, you have nothing. You do not know that persons have susu to play. If they have to pick up breadfruit on the tree, they have to pay somebody to climb it. They have to pay for somebody to watch their kids to come and buy something in town. They have to pay to do their hair and take care of their grandmother. They do more than some of us imagine. If you have not lived the life of the ordinary St. Lucian, then probably you have no business representing people or even contributing to this debate. And when I listen to the Prime Minister speak, I say, what is he talking about? It doesn't connect with the ordinary. I've lived it. I know it. Nous savons qui manière nous vivre. So même si maman ka travaille pour til l'argent et qui vient ka til lessive, il still ne peut pas payer pour mettre pied boire pour tuer boire pour mettre sous le feu. Il ne peut pas acheter bon chez bon. Non, il pas ni gens. Si tous ces jours ça là la page, ou ni gens mais gens ni pour manger tout. So ces gens qui ça fait ça là, gens qui ont été bon caillou, il ni pour manger tout. Vous comprenez? Ou ni pour payer pour lui. So the Prime Minister and this government need to be able to connect with the real lives. People do more than what you think than sleeping at 9 o'clock. You understand? You understand? Well, but I'm telling you, people have things to do. You understand? And people live their lives. It's a lot more complex. I believe, Madam President, the government has failed us over the years in the way that it has presented its borrowing proposal to us. This time around, I'm saying that what we are going to do with money, it is not sustainable, it is not advisable, it is not consistent with the problems that we have. I know the Prime Minister is a hotelier, and I know he has a passion for hotels. You understand? And maybe if a Prime Minister was a mechanic, or he'd maybe be concerned about his fixed interest. I do not know. But I'm saying that it is not the hotels he needs to be concerned about it at this point in time, to open the borders, because maybe his friends have hotels that are closed. His hotel is affected. There's a preoccupation with hotels. Open the borders because visitors need to go. That is just one sector. We know we have risk where those visitors are concerned. But the ordinary people, while they may want to go to the hotel and they haven't got a choice, most St. Lucians are stuck with the reality that they need to feed their children. They need to take care of their families. And beyond those problems, we need to be able to respond to this. Post-COVID, we need to have a new menu to serve our people. Not those large constructions that involves all sorts of things, and some of what I will not say here today. But I'll not say it. No. I would not say it. But some of the things, like, for example, there's a contractor demolishing, and an explanation couldn't be given as to who instructed him to demolish. Nobody could say that. You understand? And all of this sort of thing. We need to be proper in this thing, and we need to be able to direct our resources where it will give us the best buck for our money, more value for the cause, and at least take care of our people. Thank you very much.